Hi everyone, Forrest A. Jr. here with Rolling Tape. Today we have Kathie Fong Yoneda on. She's the author of The Script Selling Game. Today she's going to be talking about competitions for screenwriters. Now, let's roll tape.
This episode brought to you by Spoof Dance Film Festival. Make parody commercials and bring the funny.
Welcome to the show, Kathie.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, we're going to talk about, we talked about the fellowship program last time. Let's talk about competitions this time.
Yeah, a lot of people think that the competitions and the fellowship programs are the same thing, but they aren't. With competitions, the main thing is you've got to really be careful which ones you enter. If you've ever done a Google search for script writing competitions, you will see like 30,000 things that'll come up, and you have to be scratching your head and going, which one of these, do I pick? And I think one of the most important things is that if you have a community, like a writers group, or whether it's online or not, ask people if they've entered any of the competitions. These competitions can be nothing more than maybe getting a nice little piece of paper that says you've won. But some of them, you can win money from it. Sometimes it'll be something where the most important thing is you will actually get the final read by top professionals. We have had competitions where we've had people who were executives from the major studios and the major networks. We've also had judges who were top producers, like from Jerry Bruckheimer's company, Ron Howard's company, J.J. Abrams' company, who have read some of these competitions, the finals. In fact, when I was an executive at Disney, that was one of the key things that I had to do, was I had to read all the final scripts of the major competitions. And at that time, there were only maybe 4 or 5 of them, which was maybe about 15, 20 years ago. But now, oh my God, since the internet has just like exploded. And so sometimes you have to watch out, because some of these competitions, these people are just looking at it as a get-rich scheme for themselves, because entry fees are very expensive. A couple of them are free, but most of them range in the area between $25 to maybe $75, $50 being about the average. And the main thing is that, talk to a lot of your screenwriting friends, or even go to some of these meetups and talk to these people and ask them, which ones they've tried. And that should also give you an idea of whether or not that's the type of competition you want. Some competitions will offer a little bit of commentary on it. Most of them don't. The big ones, they can't do it, because like some of the ones that are with Final Drafts, Big Break, or with the Nichols, those 2 are the most popular ones, and they get thousands and thousands of entries from all over the world. And so they don't have time to do any kind of personalization of comments to each and every entry. Some of the other competitions, I have heard that occasionally they will, for the semifinalists or finalists, will give a little bit of commentary on it. But unless you make it to the final round, most of the time you probably won't get any commentary. But what's good about competitions is that it gives you an idea of whether or not you really are ready to have your script submitted to a major studio, major production company, or to a network. Be very careful, because there are some competitions where it might just be feature films only, and others will do both feature films and television. So read it very carefully. As I mentioned in my other little workshop that I did for you, the little interview, a lot of times people just don't read the directions, very clearly, and the next thing you know, they find that their script has been emailed back to them saying, sorry, but we cannot accept your material because you haven't followed the rules. And they're pretty strict about all the rules. One of the things that I think is important is also, they oftentimes, some of these screenplay competitions, if you look closely, there are some that if you Google it, they're specifically for sci-fi or specifically for horror or for comedy. And those are the ones, if you really have what you think is a very strong comedy or very strong sci-fi entry, enter those competitions. Sci-fi and horror especially are very, very hot genres right now. And there are a lot of the companies that are just sending out their people looking for those kinds of scripts. And they want new writers and new ideas. They would like to be able to pay less money to people who are newer in the business than to have to pay millions of dollars to screenwriters who have been around for a little while. So, they oftentimes will be looking at all of those competitions. And another thing that a lot of people don't realize is that many of the people reading the finalists are agents and managers. Now, as you probably know, most of the agencies from 10, 20 years ago, there used to be as many as maybe 20 major agencies. And there's now maybe, if we squeeze it, maybe there's about 8 major agencies, 7 major agencies. And that's because a lot of them merged because of the financial situation in the US. So a lot of them, when they merged, the agents that were out of a job, the newer agents, usually ended up becoming managers. Not only did they become managers, a lot of them have their own production wing as well. So now it's more of a level playing field because agencies can get you a lot of the jobs that you may want, like for rewrites, for staff positions on television shows and all that. The managers, though, also are producers. So therefore, they're looking for product as well as clients to manage. And if you get in with one of the managers, sometimes they will, if they like your material and if they see that you have like 3 or 4 things in a certain genre, they may actually try to do what they call a first look deal with you by saying, okay, from now on, if we rep you, we want you to show our production wing all your work first before you show it anywhere else, because they want to be able to get their hands on it first. So that's one of the things that, when you are going to a competition, try and find out by either looking online, and they may not have all the judges listed, but if you contact these people or email them or call them, they probably don't mind telling you who some of the judges have been in the past. So it gives you an idea of the caliber of the judges.
How does the fact that there's so many TV shows, does this make it more viable for people to win these competitions, or does it create more opportunities?
Well, I have not gotten into a lot of the things that are coming out now, because I know I have heard that Amazon either has a competition now or is thinking about having a major competition, because there's so much of the streaming material going on. And Netflix, I know, is very eager to look at a lot of new material as well. But Amazon, they've now, they got a major headquarters down in Santa Monica. They are like trolling for material. Sometimes you'd be surprised. You might be able to just, get your material snuck in there. But by the time you do that, what you might want to do instead is, if you aren't lucky enough to know somebody in Hollywood, enter these competitions. Because if you're a finalist, and sometimes even a semi-finalist, you will get you might have your material actually read. The agencies have all their new agents and their assistants looking through the material. They have to read all of that material. It's the same thing with all of the executives. All the development executives are required at the studios to be going through all of the finalists and semi-finalists of the Nichols and of the Final Draft Big Break. Okay, and you can hook people up with a list of these competitions, correct? I'd be happy to, yeah. My website is KathieFongYoneda.com, and all you have to do is just, reach me through there, and I'll be happy to send it. Just put a little thing on there. This is rolling tape handout, and I'll be happy to send it out to everybody. It also has some other things on how to get your, there's things about web fests, which is another way to start off your career too, if you're looking at doing things on a smaller level. But that's another subject for another interview.
All right, Kathie. Thank you for joining me, and thanks for sharing all this information with.
It's my pleasure.
All right, thank you very much, and hopefully we'll talk to you yet again.
Okay, take care.